Well, it is officially the new year, and you know what that means. It's time to set your financial goals. And I'm going to help you set your goals this year in this video so you actually achieve them. And I'm also going to share some of my personal goals that honestly, I never share any of that stuff publicly. So, it's a bit of a treat. So I've been setting financial goals for myself for a number of years. And because of that, I have over time developed a strategy that really works for me. And hopefully it'll work for you too. Now, on average, I achieve about 80 to 90% of the goals that I set for myself, not 100%. And honestly, that should not be your goal. The goal of setting goals should not be to achieve 100% of your goals. You need to have some flexibility, and you also need to give yourself just some grace because we are not perfect and things change. Often I don't achieve some goals because I run out of time, or the goal just doesn't make sense anymore. I change my mind, or just my life goes in a different direction. So the goal shouldn't be to achieve 100% of the goals you set for yourself, but a good 80 to 90%, I think that is kind of a more realistic gauge of success. But before setting your goals, there's actually a really important thing that you need to do, which is take some time to reflect on what the heck happened last year. Now, right off the bat, I want to share this free resource that I discovered in 2020 that I found super helpful to help me reflect on what things transpired in the previous year and how to actually start thinking about moving forward. Now, it is more general. It's not just financial goals. It's just all around life goals, but it's by Year Compass, and I'll drop a link in the description for this video for you to check out. But I thought it was a really great way to kind of jumpstart your goal setting if you feel really overwhelmed and you just don't know where to start. Now, what I do for my financial goals is much more simple than that booklet. So what I do is you can either get a notebook, or you can just do a Google Doc or a Word doc or whatever, and just stream of consciousness, write down everything that you can think of and remember that you achieved in the past year. And when I say financial goal specifically, that is just any goal that has some sort of connection or is tied to money. So that could look like going on a trip and paying for it in cash, paying off your student loans or paying off all of your debt, buying a car, buying a house, saving up to adopt your first pet, getting a raise at work, earning $5,000 in your side hustle, or it could be maxing out your TFSA or RRSP. You get the picture. There are a ton of different goals out there to achieve, but it's basically anything that is tied to money. So really take some time to reflect on the past year, write down everything you can think of. If you need some kind of helpers with that, because often we, rack our brains, so we just can't think of anything that actually happened in the past 12 months, look through your email, look through your Instagram, look through your photos, look through your calendar to kind of jog your memory. Next, brainstorm what you would like to achieve in this new year. Remember, you do not always have to top whatever you achieved in the previous year. It's not about doing more, and more. It's just about being realistic about what makes you happy, what would make you feel really satisfied to see that you accomplished in this year. For example, if one of your goals was to save 50% of your income in 2022, don't feel pressured to up the ante and save 60% of your income in 2023. Saving half of your income for a whole year is a huge accomplishment, so you may just want to replicate that goal again for a second year. There also may be some goals that you set for yourself last year that you weren't able to achieve, and if they're still relevant, you may want to consider setting them as goals for this year. Now, this next step is a really important part. Now, after kind of writing down all of your goals for this year, you may be left with a very long and intimidating list, and that is totally normal, but we're not going to work towards all of these goals. We are going to cut them down to your top 3. Studies have shown that if you have too many goals on your to-do list, then it can cause overwhelm or burnout or demotivate you, and you have a lower chance of achieving any of your goals. If by some chance you're able to achieve all of your goals and you still have months into the year left over, you can go back to your original goals list and add one more to the pile. Once you have your top 3 goals, it's time to get into the details. What are their timelines? What are their action steps? For example, let's say you set the goal of having a fully funded emergency fund of $10,000 by the end of 2023. Well, first you would determine the timeline, which you kind of already have. You've got 12 months to achieve that goal. Next, you need to outline the specific action steps to achieve that goal. So the first thing you want to do is figure out how much do you need to contribute to that savings account to reach $10,000. And let's just assume you're starting with $0. Well, if you break down $10,000 by 12 months, that means you have to put $833 into that savings account to reach your goal. Now that's a good chunk of change. And if you're like, okay, with my current income, I can actually only afford to contribute $400 per month, I still have to find this extra $433. That is where you start to take a look at where can I cut back and how can I earn more. So this is a great opportunity to take a look at all of your spending from the past year and see if there's anything that you can eliminate. Maybe it's decreasing how much you spend on takeout. Maybe it's cutting some subscriptions. Maybe it's just being more mindful with your spending. But maybe there's nowhere else to cut back because, as we know, things are expensive and they keep getting more expensive. So maybe the answer is just to increase your income. Now, this could look like doing overtime at work, trying to get a raise, or if that's not going to work out, moving to another job where they have a higher salary. It could also look like getting some part-time work or starting a side hustle. And lastly, take a look at your home and see, is there anything that I could sell for some cash? Often we have a ton of stuff in our house that we don't even use, but someone else could use it and we could easily sell it on Kijiji or Facebook Marketplace. After doing all this, it's really important to test all of your goals with the SMART method. So that really just means making sure that all of your goals are specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-based. If it doesn't pass the SMART test, then you have to go back to the drawing board and either refine your goal or choose a new goal. Lastly, you need to check in with yourself and keep yourself accountable. This is the only way that you're actually going to achieve your goals. This is where you'll see a lot of people suggest doing a vision board. So once you've got all of your goals organized, create a vision board because a lot of us are visual people. Now, this can look old school with some magazines or some photos that you print and putting it on a cork board and put it in your office or someplace that you see. I even have a few friends that kind of do it more digitally and they go into Canva and they make a little vision board and then they set that as their computer's desktop or the background for their phone. Now, another thing I'd suggest is setting up a monthly money meeting with yourself. It's just like a way for you to check in with you and your money and your goals. So really how I kind of look at this is take a look at your budget. Hopefully you have a budget. I've got some spreadsheets if you're interested. Track your spending every month and track your net worth. And then also take a look at your goals to track their progress as well. Not only will this make you feel just less anxious and more organized because you know exactly what's going on with your money and your goals, but it should serve as some motivation because you'll hopefully be making some progress and you can see yourself, okay, we're almost there or just a few more months and then I'm going to hit that target. So that is the strategy that I use to achieve my goals. And again, I have a pretty good track record for actually achieving them, but I really do want to emphasize how important it is to not overwhelm yourself with a lot of goals because every year I did that, I'd feel really crappy even if I did achieve like a lot of things. So keep it simple with your top 3. But since I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I was going to share some of my personal goals, I'm going to share them now. So I took some time to reflect on what the heck happened in 2022. Overall, it was a great year, but it was also a big transition year. Like a lot of things happened. I moved into my new house. I got a new website, got new photos. I did a lot of growth, but I also spent a lot of money. You know, when you move into a new place, you're going to spend some money on decorating and getting new furniture and doing some renos. And then for my business, I really did invest in my business. And I want to make sure that 2023 is kind of the opposite. I want it to be my saving year. So for me, what that really looks like is I have the goal of maxing out my TFSA. That was one of my goals for 2022 and I did not achieve it. I want to max out my RSP again, and I also want to dump a lot more money onto my mortgage. But I want to know what your financial goals are for the year. So make sure to drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear, and make sure to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. But I hope you learned a little something in this video, and I will see you in my next video.